Hey, welcome back everyone. Thanks for sticking around. Trying to just get stuff out to you guys so you know what you're doing, where to go, where to take it, and what's next, and learning the importance of what's going on. So we covered the wind, some real fundamental basics of onshore, offshore, wind, the wind window, and we've touched on some stories and some things that can happen. Both when I had mentioned on the last one with the wind window, with the kite lines, when your kite goes down and it could sweep across and go directly downwind. It's really, really, really important that nothing is downwind of you. That's how people are getting killed in the sport. And I have to emphasize the seriousness of that because it does happen. But it happens when you're not paying attention or you're being a little too risky and you're taking things outside of the safety element. So you don't ever want to have an automobile or a camper or a tree or a house downwind of you. I mentioned a football field before. When you have a trainer kite, you need at least a football field all the way around you so you can play around and you can because you're going to be up here looking the whole time. You're not even going to be paying attention to where you're at. By the time you're done, you're going to go, oh, wow. But after watching this and knowing before you even touch a trainer kite that that's in your head, you're going to mentally tell yourself, I want to be aware of my area. I want to know where I'm at. I want to keep focused on where my feet are planted. And also, you don't want to have any debris. You don't want any bushes, any twigs, anything that a fence, a tree. You don't want anything there. You want flat sand or water or snow because this will create a tear or puncture your kite. They're built pretty durably, but they are a fabric and they're not indestructible. So keep that in mind as far as safety, safety, safety. Everything downwind. When you're playing with a bigger kite, you want at least 2-3 football fields downwind empty, especially in the beginning, because in a second, people don't understand this. Even people that have been kiting for a minute, they'll tell you, they'll be like, I wasn't paying attention, or the wind came up in a gust, and bam, in a second, they were doing Superman. Unbeknownst to their own actions and what they wanted to do, the wind is in control. The wind has the power. And there's some things you can do to keep in mind and to look out for what the wind is doing. So if you're on the water and you look across the lake, sea, ocean, whatever, and you start to see a spray, kind of like a mist, coming your way and you see it move across the water, you know there's a gust coming. So you either park your kite, get it down, have someone help you. If you're out on the water, bring it all the way to the side of the wind window and park it. The neutral zone where we talked about is a neutral zone, but it's not always the safest because when your kite is up here, the wind's coming and it'll lift that kite if it's at high noon. So they always say to park it at 11 or 1. That's a good safety thing to keep in mind when you're just parking it at the top. A trainer kite, it doesn't really matter because it does have some pull. Don't be surprised if you get pulled around on a trainer kite, especially if you go out in super high wind. And there's some other things that I want to highlight on when you're flying a trainer kite and you're playing around. Trees create a wind shadow. The wind is coming at, let's say the wind's going this way, right? So the wind's coming and it hits this and it's got to come around this, so it messes with this wind and it's not clean wind. You want steady, clean wind. That's going to happen 50 to 100 yards past any building. Excuse me, my writing is pretty sloppy there, but you want 50 to 100 yards past any obstacle. So this is behind you, that's fine. But you want to be far enough away from that where you're grabbing the clean wind and not the dirty wind, because it's getting all tumbled around and it's not going to be consistent. Your kite will go up, it'll go to the left, it'll go to the right, it'll fall down, and you don't want that. And just a quick story. There was a guy, because these lines are made out of nylon, And I've got a brand new trainer kite right here. And on these lines right here, the guy grabbed on a bigger kite. And this is one thing you don't ever want to do when you're playing in the water and you got tension on your lines, it's out there. And you want to grab that line like this to pull it. You do not want to do that. The guy, because these kites have 400, each line is 400-pound test. And on a bigger kite, you have 4 of these lines. This trainer kite, there's 2. So the guy wrapped it around his hand like this. Power of the wind in his body shredded all the meat and muscle and everything off his fingers, off his digits. And he had bone there. So you don't ever want to grab around. If you got to grab a kite line, you just grab it and pull. There's no knots to do it, but you don't ever want to do that. That's like the biggest no, 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 no. So anyway, those are some fundamental basics that you've got to know and you got to understand, because the wind will come. Oh, so back to the wind and projection of what's happening. You always want to have your eye on the horizon of where the wind is. For good reason. It could be another kiter or a windsurfer or someone coming downwind or whatever. But you want to see farther enough out so you can see this water spray coming so you can prepare for that. And then on snow, you will just see snow, just like you'll see like a white wall of snow coming if you're out snow kiting. You know that there's some wind coming, so you depower your kite, park it in the neutral zone, or just get it down, or worst case scenario, detach, you know, pull your safety, and but you're still attached by one line, and we'll get into all that too. But so you want to prepare and keep an eye out on these things that are out of your control. So that's probably one of the bigger things. To get you an idea of a trainer kite, this is a 3-meter trainer kite. Now they sell all kinds of trainer kites out there. I don't know if you can kind of tell, but this is touching the ground. So it's about a little bit wider than my arms. It's about 7 feet by 3 feet, and that's a 3-meter. And this is a foil kite, foil trainer kite. And you can see in here, the wind goes down the chute and fills up the back of this kite. And so it creates this air pocket, and that gives it air. And foil kites are popular on snow, not on water, because if you land it in water or the wind shuts down or whatever, that will fill up, and the chances of relaunching are almost never. I mean, I've seen it happen where a guy was really good, and the wind was really light, and he took out a foil kite on the water, and he actually did good. But he was a pro team rider for Ozone, so you don't want to be trying that until you get your level up, and you'll be playing with an inflatable. But there's some things, we'll get into the bigger kites and products and all that other stuff, but as far as a trainer kite, you don't need to spend the $300-400 on a 3, 4, 5 line trainer kite. That's just, and you don't need an inflatable trainer kite. You just need some simple tool to get you out there and practicing the wind window. Like I said, you're going to pay $150 to $350 at a kite lesson, and then you're going to learn these basic fundamentals. They're going to go over this stuff. They're going to give you 2, maybe 3 hours, and 1 hour of that might be playing with a trainer kite. That's it. And you just started that. So now you're going to want to buy the trainer kite, and you're going to spend on top of that whatever they're charging for their trainer kite. These are probably the cheapest 3-meter, full, true 3 meters, not 2.5, not 2-meter trainer kites, but 3 meters. A 2 is a little too whippy snappy, and you don't necessarily feel the full power and have the full respect of the kite and the wind and what's happening out there, because this is just a fraction of the size of what you're going to be playing with once you're strapped in on a big dog. So I would get a 3-meter versus a 2-meter. I would get a 2-line, period. So keep that in mind. You don't need to put your money towards whatever else, a bigger kite down the road. Don't put it into a trainer kite. I sell these trainer kites for just under 200 bucks for a kite video, a progression video, and they go into much more in-depth of progression. I don't know if you can see that, beginners, and they're covering the same thing I'm covering, but they have better visuals and graphics, and like I said, these videos are just to help you guys get introed into the sport and understand the safety and everything. But if you want to take it another level, and you do want a trainer kite, I'll be happy to help you out. Contact me, let me know, we'll figure it out. But I'm not here to sell anything, I'm here to get you guys familiar with what's going on, but you don't need to be spending all kinds of money. One of the things I do have to mention, I say I'm not selling anything, but I know I have the best deals out there as far as trainer kites and videos. You get both. That's a $35 video. But once you spend the money on this, I will refund you your full money when you get a bigger kite, when you purchase a bigger kite through me. But don't even worry about that right now. We just got to get the safety fundamental stuff. But if you're just raring to go and you can't wait, contact me at contactworldkitesurf.com, and we'll figure out what it is you want, and we'll go from there. But you still got a lot more to learn. But if you're anxious and ready to start playing with a trainer, let me know, and we'll go on to the next more fundamentals on the next one. That's your 10 minutes. Bye for now.